friends, have you ever wondered what it is like getting ready for a wedding as a professional makeup artist? What it all entails, how much you got to pack, how much you got to prepare? Well, wonder no more. I'm going to bring you along with me as I get ready for a wedding this weekend. Lots to do. And I thought, you know what? I've been meaning to do a film like this for you guys, kind of behind the scenes. And so this is a good opportunity because I have a huge wedding coming up and I am doing a lot more for it than I normally would. So I want to just kind of show you everything you would have to think about, all the little nitty gritty. And this is why we are worth so much as a professional makeup artist. I am Cher and I love to vlog all about beauty product reviews, makeup looks, behind the scenes, and then sometimes even travel vlogs. So if that interests you, make sure you give me a big ol' like and subscribe. Turn that notification bell on so that you don't miss more like this in the future, and we are going to get started. So the first thing that I usually do is I always make sure that I'm stocked up on all my brushes. I keep my brushes now in these handy little bags like this. I do have another video out there where I share my makeup kit for you, like my newly updated one, and so this is what I've upgraded to. It has been fabulous. So I have these sets of bags that hold my brushes. How I have them organized now, I didn't do this in the beginning when I did that video, but I am back to organizing them bundled up per client because I am my own person. I don't have a team. I do everything myself. I do have an assistant that helps me sometimes. That's usually my mom. But I have a couple people trained that help me if, depending if I need it. And usually what they do is help me sanitize if I have like a bigger wedding. If I've only got like 3, I don't really need one. But when I start getting like 4 to 6, I usually bring them with me because they keep me on track. One of my biggest struggles with weddings especially is time management. Just keep it on track, guys. It is so hard. So it is nice to have somebody that's sanitizing in between clients. And it's not just brushes, it's things like eyeliners, eyebrow colors, the liner, like eyeliner, black jet, that I use on everybody. Like there's certain things I will keep reusing on multiple clients. So I would have to stop and sanitize those things. Things like tweezers, eyelash cutters, all those things that I don't want like multiple, 6 different ones. I have to sanitize those in between people. So it's nice having a person there that sanitizes for me. Other thing that they do is they make up my little bridal kits for me mostly for like lipstick colors and shades, because lipstick's the first thing that fades. And I usually always do a kit where I at least provide the lipstick for like the bridesmaids or wedding party, and then I have like a full-blown kit for the bride. I can make the brides ahead of time, but not always the wedding party because I don't know their shades and everything yet until I get there. And so usually my person that's sanitizing will sanitize my brushes in between people too. However, if it's a big wedding, I try to set it up more like an assembly line where I've got my assistant actually starting everybody on, getting their moisturizer, their primer on, and even foundation. I have trained her on how to do foundation. So she goes ahead and does some of the base while I'm starting on another person with the complicated stuff, and then we switch. And usually she can get 2 to 3 people done with the base stuff, those just the foundation, getting them started, in the amount of time that I can finish one person. And then, we just switch them, the next ones to me, like an assembly line. So if I have that being the case, she's busy doing that. And it is so much easier to have brushes already bundled where I have just a full set of brushes for every person. I only have 6 sets, and it's because I can only handle 6 people. I don't do like more than 6 people at weddings by myself. If it's a wedding party over 6, I will hire somebody else to come in and help, or have them hire somebody else to come help, however it works out. This is like enough for like a full brush set. And so I usually have 6 at a time. And what is handy about this is there's 3 different little slots down in here. I don't, you can't really see it. So at this wedding coming up, I'm going to basically have like each person is a slot in here and they stand up right on the table. So it's very handy, but I make sure all my brushes have been cleaned and they're all tied up with a rubber band so that they are ready to go for each person. So that's the first thing I'm doing, is just making sure all my brushes are bundled and sanitized, have been sanitized and clean. I usually clean them right after a wedding or like the next day or something, just because, you know, I like knowing that that's like done, and I have them, especially since sometimes I'll get like a last minute booking and I want to know I at least have a few sets of like brushes clean to be able to go meet a client, you know. So because they've been there like already cleaned, I'll come back the night before a wedding. One of my biggest things is just making sure everything is really clean and sanitary. So I'll come back in, even though they're already all clean, and just wipe them down with a wipe, like a sanitizing wipe, and just make sure there's no like powder residue left on it, or like that it just looks clean and pristine and everything. I do this with everything, honestly. Also, even my, like all the palettes in my kit that I know I'm going to use, I'll come in with a Q-tip and alcohol and just like wipe everything down. So I do this to like all of my makeup in the entire kit. The reason I do this, and I'm a little bit anal about it, is because I don't have a brick and mortar makeup studio at this point in my business. I am on site, so I go to the client. Occasionally, if I need a place to bring them, I have a studio I use of a friend's, but it's not mine. And so my kit and all of my stuff and all of my sanitizing is in my home. I do everything in my house. Well, as you've all seen in my videos, I have pets. I have tons of pets. We are animal lovers here. We are the animal house. And there's animals that walk across my makeup table, okay? I mean, you see my cats. They come say hi in all my videos. And, I did have one in the window a minute ago, which is why my curtains are messed up. So anyway, not the most sanitary for client. If I have, you know, I don't generally have like my kit laying out, but if I have, you know, palettes I was playing with that I left out, I usually try to keep everything closed up, but still, it's all been in my home that has allergens. And you never know when somebody might have a cat allergy, you know, that's like been in the air that has touched your makeup. You know, if I've had any of it out of the kit. You can hear my kid too. I mean, you hear, my house is a zoo. Do you hear this? So I like to, the night before the wedding, I like to go ahead and sanitize everything. I pull out all of the palettes. I like just wipe everything down, sanitize it all. So I go through a lot of alcohol, like rubbing alcohol and alcohol wipes, and Lysol wipes as well on certain things. So that's a big part of my process. Just because, you know, that's like the top concern. You got to just make sure. And in this day of COVID, you know, the more clean you can be, the more hygienic, the better. So that way I get it all clean, and then I put it in that kit and I do not open it until the next day at the venue. So that way I know I've kind of gotten any of my like home allergens off of my client stuff, you know. In addition to my makeup brushes, I've also got things like beauty blenders, sponges, and such, okay? So, beauty blenders. Let me tell you about these. You do not ever use things that are like sponges that hold germs and moisture in them. You do not reuse on clients unless they have been like boiled, like you boiled the snot out of them. So that's what I do. At first, I was always throwing away beauty blenders and sponges after like every client for that reason, but that gets very expensive because sometimes I use 2 beauty blenders on a client, you know. So if I have a wedding of 6, that means I go through like 12. Not cool. Yeah, that adds up. So what I do is I will bring them all home. I'll kind of wait till they build up. Like if I only had 1 or 2 clients, I just kind of start accumulating my sponges in a bag and wait until like I'm running low on them. And then I'll throw them all in with like, while I'm cleaning brushes and stuff, I will shampoo them down, really get them soapy, clean out the stains and everything. But that is not enough to get the germs out, guys. So I will boil them in a pot and cook them at very, very high temperatures. I have melted them before doing that. Just a heads up, you have to sit and watch them. Do not walk away. I also include things like this. These are my little sponge thingies that you can use to wipe your brush off with, like when we're sanitizing. So I always throw these in with the things to boil after a wedding too, after an event. And I will also throw in the hair clips and stuff in that boiling water as well, because those are harder to get really clean and sanitized, so I just want to make sure we are boiling everything and keeping it super sanitized in between clients. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing, but I'm usually cleaning these guys a lot later. Oh, there's a cat. I told y'all they'd make an appearance. And I also have like their capes, because sometimes I'll put a cape on them because powder gets all over them. So I have to throw these in the washing machine and dryer after use as well between clients. So those kind of things. So I'm making sure everything's been washed and cleaned and reloaded for the next wedding. And then the next step is making sure I just have everything restocked. So things like, okay, this is my little lash bag here, just so you know. I have like a whole little thing dedicated just to like the skincare and lashes. So this is my little lash kit. And so I'm just coming in here making sure I have restocked plenty of Q-tips, that I have all my tweezers and scissors that had been sanitized, that they're back in place, and things like the little brow wands, or they're mascara wands, but I use them for brows too. And I tend to keep some in this kit as well because they come in handy when I'm doing people's lashes, just to like help fluff the lashes and stuff. I'm also making sure all of my skincare is prepped and ready, especially for, like, I usually have just, my basic like moisturizer that I use on all the clients beforehand. But I have a whole bag of skincare for the bride if they have booked the luxury package with me where I do some pre-makeup skincare for them. I usually always prepare them. Well, I'll show you that in a few minutes. I get like a mask, special mask for them, a special bridal robe, and I make up a little bag for the bride. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. I've also got this is like my this is my little sanitizing kit, and it's also like my mixing palettes, things like makeup remover, brush cleaner, extra Q-tips, wipes, things like that. This is all the stuff that I keep right on, that I just throw this bag open, and it's everything I need to kind of have a station of just mix match stuff I'm going to need to use constantly on the clients. And so it's all right there. It's like my layout. So I keep it all just in this bag so that it's so handy to pull it all apart. And this is also coincidentally the bag that I know to go to check that everything's restocked between like every client. So this is my makeup brush cleaner. This comes to like every wedding so that we can quick dry any brushes that need to be dried really fast. And so I will go through, if it's a big wedding, we might go through this whole bottle. Usually we go through like maybe about a half of a bottle. So I make sure beforehand that this is filled to the very top. This is just kind of my portable bottle. I have a much bigger one that we pour more makeup brush cleaner in here. So I make sure that's fully stocked. I make sure I have plenty of mixing palettes, that they're all wiped down and ready to go. And then I always restock all of my alcohol pot wipes because I use a ton of these. Definitely need them at the venue with me to wipe down, like, brows and lipsticks and all of that kind of stuff in between clients. So very important that I have plenty of these. So I stockpile them like crazy. So I'm basically just going through this kit, making sure the whole thing is restocked. I may have touched on this in previous videos. I can't remember, but I'll go back over it a little bit. I'm not going to show you how I do it, but I'll just tell you a little bit about it. How I actually clean the brushes. Cinema Secrets, quick drying, sanitizing, fabulous stuff. And this is a little kit. Like, you can buy the little kit where you can just pour this into the little cup, and then you dip your brushes in, and then, I squeegee them on the little sponge for a minute and then lay them flat to dry for a few minutes. Some of my bigger brushes, it takes longer to dry, but the small ones, they're dry like almost instantly, so that it makes it easy to be able to use brushes in between clients. So this is handy. And this is just basically how I clean all my brushes. The stuff smells so good too. If you've never used it, highly recommend it. Like, I go through this stuff like crack, y'all, like crack. Okay, and the next thing I make sure is stocked is lashes, because, you know, I go through a ton of lashes. And so, you know, I have a lot like at home that I keep in stock, but I can't fit them all in my kit. I don't like to bring like the whole lash inventory with me. There's my kitty saying hi. So I just make sure that I have enough. I like to make sure I have enough of each type of lash because, you know, I have like a standard one that I tend to use a lot, but they don't necessarily always fit everybody's eye shape. So I like to have some for people who have hooded eyes, and then some for people that just have regular eyes, and then some for the occasional person that really wants a full glam, like drama kind of lash. So I at least try to keep stocked like 3 different kinds. So I go through and make sure that's stocked. I'm going to bring this down here where you can see it better. So as I was saying, I stock up on the wands and everything here, but I keep an extra stockpile just in case back here of wands too, in case I ever forget them. I just happen to keep them back there just because I'm paranoid. But I usually try to refill these from home. I also have, hang on just a minute here, I also keep the like shower caps for if I'm doing airbrush makeup. So I keep all of my shower caps in back here. So I make sure I have plenty of shower caps as well in case I'm going to be doing clients. The other thing is to make sure that my airbrush gun like device is actually charged, because it runs off. Now it has a charger where I could plug it into the wall there, but I don't want to be dealing with that on the day. We need to know that it is charged and ready to go, right? So the last thing I'm going to kind of go over is how I make my bride kits. So I have, well, first of all, I have my old, I don't know if you guys saw this, the first makeup kit that I started with. I have now turned this more into my storage unit. However, I bring half of it with me to weddings sometime. Okay, this is the bottom piece, and you can see it has all that junk down in there, just all the extra stuff and crap. So this is the part that stays in the car. That's just my extra backup storage in case we need it. I would show it to you, but I'm just going to tell you what all's in it. So the bottom half rolls with me, and it holds an extra thing of paper towels, extra thing of Lysol wipes, like wiping down the table and all that, a steamer. I find that a lot of my clients need steamers, some backup, and that doesn't necessarily always come in to the venue with us. I will usually at first leave it in the car. It's just so that it's on property though. If we need it, I'll have my assistant like run out and grab something that we might need from the car. So I'm not lugging that in, but it is with us just in case. So that's kind of like the bottom half stores all my like backup items I need. But I will break this piece off of it and carry it in with us with my kit, because this usually holds my bridal kits, and it's just a nice way to be able to prop them all up organized in here and open and facing out. And then I just carry this in, you know, and set it down, and this has all the kits. Sometimes they are fully ready to go and sometimes they're not. They're usually, you know, the bride's is made up and ready to go, and then the bridesmaids, you know, the bags are made up, but we don't have their colors yet. But usually it's just a lipstick for them, so it's like we'll mix it up and put it into that specific kit on the day of, but at least the bags are like made and pretty and like labeled. We just have to add the lipstick shade in there, if that makes sense. So I usually will carry it in there with this. When it's at home with me, it carries all the stuff I need to make the kit though. So all of this stuff will just get emptied into the big overall storage unit. If that makes sense to you, how I organize things? I don't know if that made any sense. So I start off with these little baggies. They're little bridal baggies. You can get these off Amazon pretty easily. And I will have 1 bag per girl. So the bride, I already know all her colors. Now, actually, typically I usually know the bride. So go ahead and I make up a whole thing for the bride with all her shades and colors, and it is ready to go. The bridesmaids, I don't know usually. However, for this particular wedding, this bride is so organized. I couldn't believe it. She sent me pictures of all the girls and the looks that they want. Now, most makeup artists, or a lot of makeup artists I know, will not allow girls to like pick their look. They will allow the bride and that's it. They usually have kind of like a standard look they'll do for bridesmaids. I get why, because believe me, I'm exhausted, and you know, because I'm always like, time management is my biggest struggle. And I know that's part of how you handle that time management aspect, is that you just kind of have your system and you just make rules. I am opposite though. I don't like to tell people they can't have the look they want. Like, I feel like if they are paying for a service, I want to make them as happy as possible with their service, you know? And to me, it just kind of goes against my, I don't know. I know that's not always standard, and I'm not at all knocking anybody else who does that. That's not, I know why we have to do it. And it may be that I have to have no choice sometimes. But you know, it might be partly that I'm a new makeup artist. I'm like still kind of young, and I'm not young. I got started very late in life. I'm 44, but I'm still new at this and passionate, and like it, you know, I want to please my clients. So I do go out of my way to try to accommodate looks that people want. Now, if they tell me on the spot and we are just strapped for time, and it is something that is just like, are you kidding me? We don't have time for this. Like, I've never had to say no, and I usually don't get special requests from the bridesmaids. It's more the brides ask ahead of time. So usually if they ask me ahead of time, I'll say, yes, but you know, it would be really helpful if you would go ahead and send those looks ahead of time. I'll be more prepared to be able to do that. So that's what this bride did. And she sent me everybody's looks, what they want. So I already know their colors. Now, I don't necessarily know for sure what their like foundation shade and concealer and all that might be. I have an idea, but I would probably need 2 or 3 different shades just to make sure. So I can do most of their kit though. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to make up the kits for all these girls as much as possible, because of the fact that I know that this particular wedding, I am going to be very nervous about the time. We have a lot of girls to fit into a very short amount of time. I will have my mom with me. We're gonna be doing our assembly line, the foundation she's gonna do, and I'm gonna do, you know, everything else. And we're going to take the bundles of brushes and we are just gonna like bust it. So I am doing things like, this is one of the rare times I'm able to go ahead and make the full kits completely, you know, beforehand instead of the day of. That's usually what my mom's working on. But we're going to try to keep mom on the assembly line and off of the sanitizing and bridal kit station. So this is part of what we're doing. So one of the first things I put in there, I have a little card that I have made up, and I'm actually going to fix this because it has my old information. It's still linking to my at Share's Beauty page, which is more my blogging page. And I'm going to probably update it to include my business page instead, so that they can all go back, and sometimes I post pictures of them and, you know, they can go back and see themselves. I do sell Arbonne, because I use Arbonne as my, a lot of the base products, like foundation. I use traditional foundation. So it gives them a chance to, like, if there was something they really liked, they know I put their shade down here, and they could go back and shop for that if they want, and so that they know where to find it. So, but I might be changing this up because Arbonne is not central to my business. It's nice for them to have, but it's like, I'm not trying to like sell the MLM as my priority. I'm trying to make sure my bride and my bridesmaids are happy. That's my priority. So, but anyway, this is the card that I've usually put in here. So I'll put this in here, and it has all my info for them, and I usually put like a little note, or I write their shades on it and their name. Then we have little jars that I buy in bulk here. So in each of these jars, for the bridesmaids, I'll usually just I'll mix up their lips, like the lipstick and gloss combination that I use on them. And we'll put it in there, and I'll write on it with a Sharpie lips, so they know exactly what it's for. And then they will get a little lip brush with it. And then I usually provide a little straw as well, so that it helps if they need a drink. It preserves their ability to drink everything. For the bride, I do all of that, but I also add more. I put in there lash glue. I put these little like mini makeup wipe things in there. I put mascara wand, powder. What else do I put in there? Something else, I can't remember. A little the wedges to put on the powder if they need to, and Q-tips, a little bit of makeup remover, like eye makeup remover. So I put lots more little containers in there so they have anything they might need, and I go above and beyond for them. So I'm gonna start working on these kits for each person, but I already know their lipsticks, so I can go ahead and just make them all up, and I will show you the end result. And here they are, so you can kind of get a feel for what they look like. So we have a row for all the girls, and then I went ahead and just put the supplies back down in here, but I will still probably carry it like this into the wedding. The last thing, so the bride did not do my luxury package, which this is where I do, like I talked about before, sort of a pre-makeup skincare package. We meet like 30 minutes earlier. This one didn't order that package, but the week after I have a bride that did. So I'm going ahead and just doing hers so that you can see what I do for the bride. In that case, I usually just give them a little goodie bag to start with, and I'm packing it right now actually. White for bridal, of course, and I just put in a sweet little card in there. She gets her own skincare mask. We start off with the mask and let that sit for a little while. She gets the Lily lashes. Where did they go? I've shown them to you before, but I basically put her lashes in there, her own set of luxury Lily lashes, and then she gets her own bridal robe. So I put that in there as well. So just kind of make her up her little package so she is pampered and ready to go for her day, and then throw in some tissue paper and make up her little goodie bag for her. And this is what she gets first thing in the morning. I'm usually the first one to see her, other than like the person who's opened up the venue for them. And I give them their little package, and we start pampering and just let her sit in her robe and enjoy the morning, calm those nerves, and just get ready for her big day. And I just love it. So we start off with that mask, and then I have other masks. I have like an eye mask I do. We do moisturize. I do a roller on her face. We do the neck cream, eye creams after the eye mask comes off, and just nice soothing music. I usually put on either like wedding music or like meditation music or whatever she prefers to kind of get her in the mood and going. And so that's kind of our first 30 minutes before we start the makeup. Okay, so that about wraps it up. That's a lot of what goes into my preparation for a big wedding. I hope that you enjoyed this. Hope you got some ideas if you are a professional makeup artist yourself. Do you work this hard before a wedding? I hope that that was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed. And if you like videos like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you are interested in seeing more behind the scenes of my makeup practice, you can check out this latest video where I was recently updating my professional makeup kit. It's even more updated since then, and hopefully in the future I will be bringing you more on how I can streamline it for travel and get it even smaller and condensed. But for now, this is my latest one, giving you a tour of my makeup kit. So hope you enjoy that, and I will catch you on the next one.